A very good morning to you, our viewers. My name is Sharon Kalimbula, and this is The Breakfast Show. I'm here with Patrick Soko. We have a lot of stories to unpack, a lot of interviews to discuss with our guests that will be joining us on set a little later. But for now, Patrick, welcome to this Breakfast Show.
Thank you very much.
You want to welcome me too?
I'm used to welcoming you.
Go ahead.
Yes, yeah, like you say, I think it will be an exciting program. We'll be discussing pretty attractive topics to say, but not so common, but the aspect of tobacco. We talk about tobacco control, also talk about the issue of the PF. There's we have one of the founder members of the PF was going to be joining us on set to discuss pertinent issues surrounding the former ruling party, and of course we'll also give you an update regarding stories that are trending and what we are expecting during today, because quite a number of exciting things are happening today, and I think we'll try by all means to ensure that we get you informed on these issues. But for now, we are going to go straight into the morning boost so that we can try to exercise with
to see how fit you are. And you've been promising me to join.
Yes, and I'm going to do that
next week. You're not doing that. This whole week has passed. You're not joining him. However, let's just see how we can keep ourselves fit, at least away from our chairs. I'm hoping that by the time we're coming back on set, you'll be sweating.
Probably.
All right, so let's go straight to the morning.
A very good morning to you and welcome to Morning Boost. This is Isaac Macha, always here in the morning to make sure that you have a great day. Therefore, today we're going to do some simple workouts, different kinds of workouts in 5 minutes. As usual, it's going to be a warm-up. Let's go. Start with the warm-up. Good morning. Let me know where you're watching us from. Let's go. Very easy. Okay, I'm gonna change very soon. Here's the next one. Thank you. Trotting. Do this anywhere. You can do this in your kitchen, from your living room, outside, car park, anywhere. Okay, here we go now. So the first workout we're going to do, we'll do some mountain climbers. Okay, let's go. We'll do both for the beginners and for those already in the workout system. Go down, see my body. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7. Make sure that you're pushing in your knee in. 10. So I'm going to do 40 mountain climbers. 20 will be basic. The next 20 will be a little bit advanced. Last 10. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You should be feeling your hands by now. 8, if you're doing it correctly. Okay, so that was 20. You can take a 15-second break, sip some water. Let's do the last 20 of mountain climbers now. Yes, she just sipped some water. Don't mind, the person behind the camera. Let's go now. 20 of them. Okay, 10 in breaks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10 more to go. Let's go. Last 10. I'm sure my 15-second break is up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Here's your active break. That was 10. Try this. Leave a comment. Let's see how you're doing. Let's match. 2 steps each. 2. 2. 2 steps. I'm going to add a grapevine now. 2 each. Grapevine. Try this, daddy. 2 each. Stay at it. I'm gonna change soon. Let's match. Keep matching. 1, 2. 1, 2. Let's run now. See? You just need a little space for you to do your running. Almost done, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I always feel good every time you join me. So make sure to do this every day and you're gonna be fit. Don't miss another session next week. This is Isaac Matsa and I'm signing out with a punch on your face. 1, 2.
Welcome back. This is the Camnet Breakfast Show. We hope that you have tried to exercise through that morning boost that we usually bring to your screens every day on this show. On our set, like we promised, we have our guest from the Zambian Network.
Media Network
Against Tobacco.
Yes.
Vaccina period, right?
Yes.
Yes, I'm correct on that, at least.
Yes.
Welcome to our set.
Thank you so much.
This is the first time you're here, right?
Yes, this is the first time
How
I'm
does
here.
it feel to be at Camnet?
Well, great.
It's a holy ground.
It's a holy, well lit actually.
It's a holy ground.
Too much light, yes. It's giving me hope.
It's giving you hope, eh? Nice. Patrick?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, but we know you from the area of tobacco, especially as far as addressing the aspect of tobacco in the country. So we thought of trying to interact with you, especially in as far as tobacco control is concerned. We want to find out what does the Media Network Against Tobacco do, to be specific.
Okay, thank you so much. The Media Network Against Tobacco came about because of the harms of tobacco that we noticed in the country, and there was no voice really, especially from the media. So we decided to come up with a network of professional journalists who are going to concentrate on reporting on the harms, sensitizing the public on the harms of tobacco, and also because there was a research that was done. Because I'm also coming from the Center for Primary Care Research, where we saw a huge number of people dying in Zambia, over 7,420 as at now that die every year from tobacco-related diseases. So we thought of coming up with this network of journalists, and we have been building capacity so that they can be able to understand what harms are there when someone is smoking tobacco, and also what effects are there for the tobacco farmers. And so we have seen a lot of changes actually in terms of reporting on the harms of tobacco from the journalists. And we are still moving forward, and we are hopeful that the new Dawn government will put this bill that we are pushing for into place.
Must be a lot of work. Looking at tobacco is a source of livelihood for a lot of people. Yes. Zambians actually sometimes may not grow the actual tobacco, but they go outside the country to bring it inside in the country. Yes. What are some of the measures that you feel should be put in place to regulate the sale, the consumption, and basically people from deterring people from growing this crop?
Actually, you know, our aim is to advocate for the control of consumption. In as much as I know, we've been talking to the parliamentarians, the new ones that are coming on board, and most of them are saying, why can't we just, you know, ban the production of tobacco? But we are saying our aim is to control, you know, the use of tobacco, looking at how much the government, one, is losing to treat tobacco-related diseases, and how much affected even the people that grow tobacco, you know, are. So our aim is really to push for a tobacco control bill that is going to control the consumption of tobacco, and eventually we hope that it's also going to reduce on the production, because when the prices go up, you know, you find that it will become very hard for the people to afford it, and thereby I think the prices, the sales will come down, and we'll see a lot of people quitting from smoking tobacco.
Then looking at the same aspect of increasing taxes on tobacco, we saw the government in the 2022 national budget working towards that. We saw a bit of adjustment towards the taxes on tobacco. Is that what do you make of that gesture?
Actually, that one gives us a lot of hope, because we have not really even, you know, gone to the offices to start talking about the harms of tobacco, and that Zambia ratified to the World Health Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, and we have just seen them, you know, increase the excise tax on tobacco. That one gives us a lot of hope, and we're very hopeful, you know, that this government, without any hesitance, will pass the tobacco control bill. And we have a lot of support from the Minister of Health, also Sylvia Masebo, who passed the statutory instrument 39 in 2008 to ban smoking in public places, and she has promised that in the next sitting, among the bills that will be tabled, the tobacco control bill will be there. So we are so happy that the new Dawn government has increased the excise tax, because just after they took power, you know, the tobacco industry was lobbying government to have some incentives, and that they should, you know, reduce the tax. But we have seen that the government has taken it up, which gives us a lot of hope, and we have seen that they are really concerned about public health.
Indeed, that gives you hope. I mean, I hope we won't see those protests.
No, I think now we are saying they are giving us hope already before we can even engage them.
Talking to them.
Exactly. You know, Sharon, we had a tough time.
Exactly. You've been pushing for this bill for quite a long time. Every time Parliament opens, you keep on hoping to say, okay, maybe in the sitting, they'll bring it to the table, they'll discuss it, maybe it will be passed and stuff, but nothing has happened. And obviously this, which you've mentioned, gives people that are advocating for this same agenda hope. But then we also talk about smoking, or maybe in children, because there's passive smoking, that you're not exactly the one who's holding the stick, but then you are affected because probably in the room that you've occupied there was somebody who was smoking. The smoke stays there for a long time. Let's talk about that.
Okay. In our bill, the contents of the bill, or what Zambia ratified to the terms and conditions that WHO gave, you know, one of it is also to protect the children, because we have, when the government passes the tobacco control bill, there's a clause there that bans, you know, the sale of cigarettes to children, and even selling single sticks to children. And also, you know, we see that if we talk about the children, we're also talking about, you know, people not smoking where children are, or the guardians, or the parents. You know, because some smoke even when they're pregnant, but it brings a lot of complications. Others have, you know, miscarriages. Others, you know, have a lot of complications because they are smoking, and because they are carrying a pregnancy, you find that even the baby will be affected. So passive smoke, you know, affects the children very much, because they're exposed to the smoke, and that could also lead to a lot of diseases like respiratory diseases, you know. And we always talk about, you know, talk to parents and guardians to avoid smoking where children are, because passive smoking is as good as smoking tobacco. So you can imagine, as a father, you're smoking where your children are. The effects of you smoking as bad as, you know, passing that smoke, passive smoke to the children. So our appeal really is to make sure that people don't smoke where children are, or to smoke where anyone is, because it's the same effects, you know, only that children are growing up and the immune system is trying to develop, so it's more fertile, you know, in them. So our appeal is really to parents and guardians and anyone who cares about the lives of the children, not to smoke where they are.
Using them in picking tobacco?
Pardon?
Using them in picking tobacco is one aspect.
Especially, yes, now that is, if we look at the tobacco farmers, you find that, you know, they can't afford to pay people to help them in their fields. So they usually use children to help them pick tobacco. But you see, there's, just in handling tobacco, you know, there's nicotine there that goes into their bodies. And if they're in the field the whole day, it's as good as, you know, smoking 50 sticks of cigarette just by handling it.
Wow.
And there's also what we call green leaf sickness that comes by handling the tobacco leaf, and this mimics malaria. You know, you find that you visit farmers, we visited farmers around Zambia, you find that most of them are sick. And you know, if you ask them what is it, they will tell you, oh, maybe it feels like, you know, I've got malaria. But when they go to the hospital or the clinics, you know, they can't detect malaria. So we explain to them to say what is happening is you have a green leaf sickness that comes through handling of the tobacco leaf.
And the tobacco industry has been actually advancing the concept of tobacco being a lucrative venture in as far as agriculture is concerned. And but to what extent is that lucrative, considering that you're also highlighting that there's aspect of diseases, there's the aspect of cost? Should we focus on those benefits, or we focus on the health component?
Actually, if you look at our investment case, there's no benefit at all. Because if you look at what the industry contributes to the GDP, they contribute 0.04%. And the government spends 1.2% of its GDP, you know, to treat the tobacco-related diseases. You know, it's amazing when you talk to people, you know, they'll come out, even in the media, you know, surprisingly, you know, one journalist complained about her editor refusing her to come to one of our capacity building workshops because she thought, you know, tobacco is a money spinner. So we started explaining. I sent the investment case, you know, that shows that actually what tobacco industry brings into the country is less, you know, than what government uses to treat tobacco-related diseases. So tobacco is not really a money spinner. If you look at a farmer, ask them how many years, you know, they've been doing tobacco, you find that they grow poorer and poorer every day because they grow the tobacco, they are given the inputs to grow tobacco, and they can't put a price on their product. The tobacco industry still comes in to price their product. So you find that it's not even a lucrative business, maybe for commercial farmers because they are still the tobacco industry. But if you go down to the people that are growing it, the local farmers, really there's nothing that they are making, and the government is at a loss because there's nothing they are getting out of it really.
And we saw some of the traditional leaders, I think, taking a lead in trying to discourage tobacco. Certain issues to do with climate change, as well as the aspect of child labor. To be specific, that was in Eastern Province, should be Chipangari district. Yes, he had made the headways on that front, but we saw him again backtracking on that gesture. But I think
it's lucrative.
Yeah, but what can we do to ensure that really such a gesture is upheld and ensure that more traditional leaders also subscribe to that and encourage their subjects to venture into alternative crops other than that tobacco?
Well, it's a matter of understanding, you know, for the traditional leaders. We've been to Chief Chanje's area. We work with farmers there. We sensitize them about the harms of tobacco and how they can switch, you know, transition to other live crops. So we really supported Chief Chanje, you know, the stance that he took, you know, to ban growing of tobacco in his area. I think he meant well, only that maybe he was limited in knowledge and all that, but I think he meant well for his subjects, because one, he's going to save them from contracting, from getting these sicknesses that we're talking about, and two, you know, because growing tobacco is labor intensive. At least they'll have time. If they're growing other crops or they tend to livelihood, they'll have more time, you know, to themselves. They'll have more time to do other things, you know, because tobacco keeps them in the field the whole time. You know, even when they finish that, there's the curing of tobacco, which also takes a lot of time, you know, and you find that even their children, instead of going to school, they will be in the farms to help out. So I think when they transition to other livelihood, I think it will really help.
And I don't know what you make, or think this is another scenario that is developing in our country, where we are seeing the increase in terms of accessibility for shisha.
Yes.
And what are some of the effects of that activity, especially that it is becoming common, especially in nightclubs? And yeah, so
it's fancy. It's cool. It's cool. They think it's cool, you know, to
fancy.
But is it really cool?
Is it tobacco?
It's tobacco, yes. You know, the tobacco industry is really tactful, because they know that we are talking about, you know, the harms of tobacco and of smoking. So they are also switching to smokeless tobacco. Shisha is a smokeless tobacco. I think people think that maybe when they use shisha, it hasn't got the same effects. But you see, it's also got nicotine. It's also tobacco. It's another type of tobacco, only that it's smokeless, but the effects are the same. And one session of shisha is equal to smoking 4 sticks of cigarettes. Wow. So it's as dangerous as you smoking the cigarettes. It's only that the difference is only that it's not
it's not smoke.
It's not smoke. It's a smokeless tobacco, but the effects are the same. And you see my appeal. I've gone around. You find that even there's, I think, another place just when you're coming down from Woodland Stadium there. You know, there's a restaurant where they've even put, you know, there's a section where you can, you know, you can do shisha. And really our appeal is to the Minister of Local Government, if we can, you know, take up the responsibility of making sure that, you know, these things, our children are not exposed, or no one is really exposed to these things, because they've made it so open. You go to every mall, I mean, you can buy your shisha there, your pipe of shisha and all those things. But I think we are appealing to the Minister of Local Government really to put measures and to make sure that this is controlled, because the young people are now rushing to it. You know, we had one incident at East Park Mall, you know, where a young child went to buy, you know, the pipe of shisha, whether it's whether they call it pipe or whatever, you know, and you know, we saw this woman selling to this young boy, which she was not supposed to, because I mean, he was underage. They are not just supposed to go anywhere and access these things.
Over the counter, like
over the counter, you know. And this boy, you know, we stood afar, and this boy was trying to negotiate with this woman and said, "No, I'll give you more if you sell me this," and she did. You know, and so we are hoping that this government to put measures and really stop this. So
it's a conscious thing. It's a moral thing at the same time.
It is, yes.
Laws or anything that put in place to regulate this. It also goes for those that are selling to say, okay, you can't do this. Those that are probably in clubs, for example, there's some certain clubs where you say, you're underage, you can't be here.
Exactly.
So it's about the moral conduct or the cautious of a person who's in charge of those particular areas.
Exactly, because even the bill, you know, talks about not selling cigarettes or any form of tobacco to minors. And so that also goes to, I mean, that lady, I mean, I don't know if she thought if that was her child, what
would happen.
Exactly, you know, because I think we should learn to protect, you know, the children. You know, when they're doing something wrong, I think you as an adult, even if you're selling it, I mean, it's better to say, no, you can't buy this.
So there's more that needs to be done.
Exactly.
There's a lot of sensitization that needs to go on, not only in to the ministers or to the members of parliament.
It's to the public,
to the public actually.
Yes,
to the public actually, because in some of the articles that we've done with you, you've actually talked about the advertisement of tobacco.
Yes,
you've advocated for maybe a reduced way, or
they are not even supposed to advertise at all. There shouldn't be any promotion, any advertising over any tobacco anywhere, because that's according to the terms and regulations of the World Health Organization, and that's a treaty that Zambia signed to. And we have seen the tobacco industry, especially in Zambia, you know, using corporate social responsibility. It is not even supposed to do that. You know, according to what Zambia ratified, they are not even supposed to have a meeting with the tobacco industry. They shouldn't meet anywhere, you know, to start discussing, oh no, we need this, we can't sit in the same room, you know, because what they're producing is killing our people. So what they use, like to maybe, you know, for example, they build a hospital for what? You know, because what they're doing is still killing people, and people are still going to, what's the use of a hospital, you know, if what you're producing is still killing people, you know, you're still sending people to the grave.
Have you tried to involve these tobacco companies? Obviously, they are a big industry, they've got influence, they're making money at the expense of the people in respective countries that they operate from.
Yes.
Have you tried to engage them to see how best you can reach a win-win situation? Obviously, you're not advocating for them to stop producing those products, but then to just regulate in the way they advertise, in the way they sell, in the way they just operate within the country.
They know actually all these rules, and I think the time they were opening the BAT, the British American Tobacco, at the M phase there, I asked the director, you know, if they were aware of the tobacco control bill, and they said yes, they were aware of the tobacco control bill and that they will support, you know, they will support it, only that they were not comfortable with certain clauses in the tobacco control bill. But you see, it's not up to them to tell us, no, I think here we're not comfortable already. They're supposed to, you know, bow to what, you know, the government will do, because government has already ratified. They've already committed to themselves to say we're going to pass a bill that is going to protect our people, you know, from the harms of tobacco. So tobacco industry is just supposed to comply. There's nothing they are going to complain about to say no, here we're not happy, or no, there we are not happy, you know, even when they're producing a product that is killing people. So they are aware, you know, of all these things. But I think it's just the ignorance maybe of our policymakers sometimes, where, you know, they come on board and they seem to be doing very, very well, like, you know, they want to help the government. In an actual fact, you know, behind the scenes, they are doing something else.
I know you've mentioned about the Minister of Health, who was there in local government when she came up with a law to prevent public smoking.
Yes.
Is there hope with regards to other line ministries? Because it's not only the Ministry of Health, it's the Ministry of Local Government, it's the Ministry of Agriculture as well, playing a part into this. Yes. Is there political will to see to it that?
And that, Sharon, reminds me, because I think the Ministry of Health actually isn't the Ministry of Health fighting this battle alone, because sometimes I think we see the Ministry of Agriculture trying to advance the agenda for tobacco. We also see the Ministry of Commerce getting involved. We also see the Ministry of Finance getting involved to say we are getting the taxes.
Something from that.
So, but how can we ensure that
balance up?
There is a balance, and that the Ministry of Health is given adequate support to even to advocate for what should be done according to what we have ratified as a country?
Okay, thank you so much. We have, like in the previous government, we sat with all the line ministries. We visited them, we talked to them. Everyone was in support of the bill, because where the bill has reached now, it has reached an advanced stage. Yeah. There was a cry from the tobacco industry that no, it should go through the Business Regulatory Review Agency, and it went through that, and it passed, and they passed it. You know, they thought, no, when they passed the tobacco control bill, these are the gains to the country. So we spoke to all the line ministries, and everyone was agreeable. We had an issue with the Ministry of Agriculture, because with them they thought we were banning production. But we were telling them we are not talking about production. We are talking about the control on consumption, because of the deaths, you know, that are there every year in Zambia. You know, losing 7,420 people every year. It's unacceptable. You know, actually tobacco kills more people than COVID. But see how much attention people give COVID, and yet tobacco is killing more people than that. So all the line ministries, we are now constituting a forum, the parliamentarian forum on tobacco control, with the new MPs, and everyone. We've had that overwhelming support from the New Deal government ministers, even ministers from other opposition parties. We have a lot of support, and yesterday on Wednesday again, we had another meeting, and we have overwhelming support with the ministers. So we are about to start now visiting the new ministers of finance. Already we have seen that even before we get there, you know, they've already increased the excise tax. So we won't have really much
convincing to do.
Exactly, with the line ministries, because the Business Regulatory Authority, you know, approved that, actually assessed the situation on the business part, that if this bill was going to be passed, actually the country is going to save a lot of money, and the number of people dying is going to be reduced. Then
that brings me to another aspect. We also saw that the Tobacco Industry Interference Perception Index also reviewed that Zambia scored very bad in terms of that, because it showed that Zambia, the tobacco industry, was highly interfering with tobacco control policies. And what does that mean, especially in our country? But I understand that this was also based mostly on the previous administration. Now we have the new government. How can we change that narrative, because the country scored really bad?
Yes, I think we had a lot of tobacco industry interference, especially in the previous government. We had hoped that, you know, because they had put it in their manifesto, we were going to see, the bill was going to see the light of the day. But unfortunately, you know, we would discuss, you know, things where you now feel, okay, the bill now is moving forward. But you see, when we go to the custodians of the bill, I think we had a lot of issues with Ministry of Health. That's where it was stuck. every other process the bill had passed. But at Ministry of Health, we really had a hard time. Like we were talking with Sharon that there were all those protests, just to make sure, because now we were wondering everything was done, the processes were done, and what is it that they're still holding on to? We did a lot of protests there, even asking to say, can the cab memo to be sent?
Exactly.
And I remember the PS getting so upset and saying, where did you even get that term, the cab memo? I mean, so it brought a lot of...
you don't talk to people who are
exactly. So you see, it gave us, other thoughts, to start thinking, to say, no, is there something going on? What is the tobacco really industry doing? So we saw a lot of interference. For us, that showed that there was tobacco industry interference, because we were told, no, we need to consult further. What consultations did they need? They wanted to consult the tobacco industry. You cannot sit in the same room with someone who wants to kill you to say, how can we make sure that you don't kill us? I mean, you can't do that. So we saw that in 2019 in December, I think we had a stakeholders meeting. The tobacco industry were there. We were going through, the tobacco control bill, the draft, and they promised they are going to, send us their concerns from the bill, but they never did. We followed it up with Ministry of Health. The deadline passed and all that, and so we kept on. The Ministry of Health wanted to take us backwards now to say, no, we need to consult with the tobacco industry. I mean, for us, that showed that there was a lot of interference.
We are concluding now. I know you also come from a research institute.
Yes.
And one of the things that came out prominent was that those people that are smokers are more likely to die of COVID-19, especially that the whole world literally is grappling with this pandemic.
Exactly.
Maybe just briefly talk about that.
Okay, actually, research has found that the smokers are more at a risk of contracting COVID-19 because, one, their respiratory system is already damaged, because smoking damages your lungs, and so COVID-19 also attacks your lungs. So you find that it's very easy for them to contract COVID-19, and the chances of them living surviving when they get the COVID-19 is almost at zero, because their lungs are already damaged.
30 seconds just to say, stop smoking.
Thank you so much. Our appeal is to the public. Anyone who is smoking, please quit smoking, because you are reducing your lifespan. You are killing yourself slowly without knowing. There's nothing in tobacco apart from, you smoking it to kill yourself.
All right.
Well.
Okay. So we've had Faxina Puri from the Media Network against tobacco. I said it right this time.
Yes, right? Yes.
Great. So we'll have our next time again to continue this conversation. It's a long, lengthy conversation that we need. I think 2 hours to just keep on talking about it, so that information can sink in people's mind.
Yes.
The conversation that we've had here really has opened another Pandora box that people need to take it upon themselves. It's a personal thing to ensure that you make the right decision from your home, from wherever you are, so that the next person as well can do the right thing.
Yes.
Join us on the other side as we have another interview.
Camnet TV is here to entertain, educate and inform you. Catch Rise and Thrive at 0730 hours every Saturday. Fresh and new praise and worship comes Monday to Friday at 8 hours. Kids need to be glued to the TV every weekday at 09 hours for their favorite cartoons. Off the pitch with the boys as they talk about sport on Saturdays at 0930 hours.
Remember, we are also here to entertain you with our different varieties of movies every weekday at 10 hours. Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chilua with Healing Word Ministries International Church live sermon every Sunday at 10 hours.
Katamanda brings to you another journey of gospel ministers on Saturdays at 10:30 hours. The verdict comes to your screens at 17:45 hours. Join the Revival Harvest Church every Sunday at 18:30 hours.
Every Monday to Saturday, join us on the news desk at 12 hours as we bring to you the midday news, and at 19:30 hours Central African time every day for the main bulletin.
The ministry with Pastor Moses Chilua comes every Friday at 20:45 hours. On Mondays, it's your favorite national matters at 20:45 hours.
Wednesday and Thursday, Pastor Victoria and Moses Chilua are on Partnership of Greatness with different spiritual teachings at 20:45 hours.
And Frank on Camnet comes to your screen every Tuesday at 20:45 hours.
Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
We celebrate for all you've done, Lord. We give you all the praise. Oh, we testify. We celebrate. Lord, we give you all the praise.
Welcome back. We are glad that you could stay with us. We have been discussing the aspect of tobacco with the media network against tobacco. Well, we'll go straight into another segment where we want to zoom some of the stories that have been covered by Camnet TV News, and we'll start with the story that is coming from the from Parliament, where the Minister of Green Economy was actually talking about the aspect of people evacuating from the forest, the land in forest. And that story, I think, is something that was also trending yesterday. So we get straight into that. We'll be back shortly.
Madam Speaker, as a result of these illegal activities, almost all the 470 forest reserves, including water catchment areas, have been encroached. This unfortunate situation needs to be halted if our country is to develop and become the middle-income nation that we aspired to be. I therefore, Madam Speaker, want to take this opportunity to inform this House and the general public at large that encroachment on forest reserves and conducting of various illegal activities without a permit or license issued by the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment is illegal, and the offenders will be prosecuted. The new Dawn government was voted into office to deliver development, and this can only happen if we do things within the confines of the law. I want to categorically state that no development, Madam Speaker, can happen in the midst of lawlessness. The ministry will soon take definitive measures to mitigate the loss of and protect the forest reserves. Therefore, without having to resort to issuance of eviction notices, I urge all entities or individuals that have encroached the forests to move out immediately. While it may be noted that such directives have been given before by previous governments and yielded nothing, I want to assure this House that this is a national issue, and all must take heed to abide by the law, because the new Dawn government means business.
There you have it. That's the Minister of Green Economy and Environment, Mr. Collins Nzovu. Well, Sharon, that story reminds me of Forest Reserve
27.
Exactly. Because, you know, that was a topical issue.
It's still topical up to today. I think when the now government was in opposition, they made a promise to the people that they will reclaim these reserve areas that have been given to people. And the first thing that happened actually was people reminding the Minister of Local Government, Gary Nkombo, to say, you promised the people that when you attend government, these are the things you will do it. And that was one of the first assignment he had. He went that side to check the situation, and obviously there are also legal implications that maybe may come into play. You just don't bring down people's houses. You need to look at how the process of acquiring those pieces of land went, and maybe they're just basically legal implications. So it's not an overnight thing. And obviously people that stay around that area, one of them, Mr. Robert Chimambo, obviously you know him, he's been an ardent advocate of reclaiming that land as a reserve, a water recharge area. So yeah, we are hoping that maybe as time goes by, the situation will be normalized. But then we're also looking at, like I mentioned, the legal implications, because those people, are they going to be given back the money, you know, they used to acquire those plots? Yes, there were illegal allocations, but then they paid.
But if you ask me, Sharon,
the area was legalized under the previous
But if you ask me, Sharon, I think Zambia has enough land where you can occupy for let me say for settlement, land for settlement.
According to the former minister of lands, Zambia has no land. So literally, maybe that's one of the
there's a process to the Gazette. No, that is not accurate, Sharon. I beg to differ, because
no, but that's what's on record.
But you know,
she's on record. But there is no land in Zambia.
But land for settlement can always be found. And you and I, Sharon, you say land in Lusaka. Yes, there's no land in Lusaka. You want to stay in Lusaka because you think that's where everything is happening.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Yes, you are going to say there's no land. If you take it in that concept, yes. You and I can't buy a farm in Lusaka. It's possible. You get a sense. But if you are going to get land, let's say, to your village, go back to your village, Sharon. Your land is waiting for you.
I think these are things we need to encourage.
You get a sense.
Go back home.
So now, I think for me,
are you willing to go back home?
Yeah, I'm willing. I'm going to be a farmer.
Is it?
Because I think Pastor Chiru has encouraged me to be a farmer. Say, we go back to the land.
Anyways, so yeah, that's one of the things that has been topical this week, and among other stories, Patrick.
Yes, and the other story was on the district commissioners, Sharon, where we saw that previously, prior to the August 12 general elections, there was a lot of debate regarding the aspect of district commissioners, whether they should be maintained or done away with altogether, because they thought it was a political position, and that it served no purpose. Because considering that we have a mayor who does almost the same things that a district commissioner should do. You also have a provincial minister, a provincial permanent secretary. You also have the town clerk. You also have these people. You see, like, it's basically the same. So it's basically a duplication of responsibility. And we saw that in terms of district commissioners overstepping their boundaries. When the mayor advises, we also those tensions. And I think that is evidence to say we do not actually need district commissioners. The new Dawn government also came in, but they also subscribed to the aspect of district commissioners. So we'll get into that clip so that
after taking them on forced leave for over 2 months.
What was your thought when they went on?
You know what? I don't even know what was brewing, but then district commissioners have been appointed. I think it's 2 days now, but the lists have not been availed, and then now people in these social media groups that I'm in, they're actually calling themselves district commissioners because we don't know who they are, you know. Maybe you're among the list, you know.
I thought maybe it was you.
I am among the list of those district commissioners. So basically district commissioners have been appointed because the other ones countrywide were sent on what do you call that? Were fired. They were fired and replaced. But then after the replacement, the list is still not out up to today. This is day 2 of not knowing who these district commissioners are.
We get into that clip.
The office of the district commissioner is one that has been highly contended by stakeholders because it has been alleged that this office is often held by party cadres and not well-deserving citizens. The United Party for National Development, UPND, is one of the political players who frowned on how this office was handled by the previous administration. This office has often had overlapping roles with local authorities, which caused many stakeholders to question its relevance, calling for the strengthening of the local authorities instead. Presidential Press Aide Mr. Anthony Walia Wednesday, in a statement, announced the termination of contracts for all district commissioners by President Hakainde Hichilema. The statement further indicated that new district commissioners had been appointed and names will be communicated. Some stakeholders however, have expressed disappointment with the retention of this office. A governance activist, Mr. Sam Zulu, has therefore called for clarity on how this office will operate to avoid duties colliding with the local authorities.
The members of parliament, the councillors who are elected directly by the people. So this needs to be managed quite well because, like I've again said, the district commissioner is an appointee of the president, while the member of parliament is directly elected by the people in that particular constituency. So is a councillor. So that is where there is need for clarity and also avoiding. This office should be devoid of partisan politics. We have seen how district commissioners' office have been abused in the past.
Meanwhile, former Transparency International Zambia TIZ President Mr. Ruben Lifuka says the process of selection should have been more transparent.
I think the information that has been disseminated is inadequate for everyone to understand why there's this sudden change of heart, but also the new role that this position will play vis-a-vis the decentralization agenda. So the onus is on the government to make that explanation. But further to that, the position is meant to be that of a civil servant. And if it is a civil servant position, we would have expected open, transparent recruitment process. So to simply announce that names will be communicated or those that have been appointed without highlighting how it has been identified leaves a lot of undesired expectations in the people. Why is it that the process has been adopted, which is very opaque in identifying and appointing new officials?
However, UPND Alliance Media Director Mr. Tabo Kawana says appointment maids have only been given to well-deserving individuals and not political party cadres.
We complain that the office of the district commissioner has been polarized by the PF government, then that appointed the cadres to run the office of the district commissioner, who did nothing but patronize the offices and drive the PF agenda as a partisan agenda. This is why we have maintained that the office of the district commissioner will now be occupied by qualified people who will do that which they need to do correctly by servicing the people of Zambia.
The new administration is under scrutiny as it continues to make new appointments, as it promised to make appointments purely based on merit and to use resources prudently. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Well, in the studios we've been joined by PA founder member Julius Komaki, who was going to help us discuss issues pertaining to the former ruling party. Well, before I introduced Mr. Komaki, we had that story there. We were discussing with Sharon on the district commissioners.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Various issues that have come into play, and the stakeholders prior to this were also calling for this office to be done away with because it served no purpose, like we mentioned earlier before we looked at that clip. Now in this studio, like Patrick has mentioned, we have the Patriotic Front founder member, Mr. Julius Komaki, who will just discuss various issues with regards to where the PF is now, considering that he is a founder member. Mr. Komaki, welcome to the set.
It's a pleasure, and I'm honored to be on this Camnet TV. Yeah, and thank you very much for the viewers out there who will be listening as we are discussing these matters concerning the national development of this country.
To the viewers out there, you can call in and ask Mr. Komaki pertinent questions that you feel have been itching, or you can send us your text messages on our Facebook page or wherever you are watching us from. We'll be glad to hear from you.
Mr. Komaki, I think as we get into our discussion, first of all, we'll give you an opportunity to give us where you stand, because as far as I'm concerned, at some point you alongside KBF were expelled from the PF, but I just want to get what you have been up to since then.
Thank you very much. As you have correctly put it, that we were once expelled in the line with the KBF. I can tell you that in the party, Patriotic Front. There were some bedroom issues which we are discussing, but because of lack of leadership on the part of the CEO, former Secretary General, Mr. Davis Mwila, by then, I can call him former because we are no longer in the party. We failed to understand one or two points, because when we were talking about the way they conducted the inter-party elections, we have been in the party through and through since inception, since when the party was formed. So we knew how Mr. Sata was conducting the internal elections, and we knew now when on the way, when we found that Mr. Mwila and the group at the Secretariat, they were not doing well, because we made the introspection after the demise of Mr. Michael Chulfesat. I think you'll be interested to know this. We had the internal fights where we had the groups. Others who preferred Gaisco to be the president, others preferred Winter Kavimba to be the president by then, and us who preferred Dr. Edgar Chagwalongo. So along the way, there was that division, but among the same family. We went to Murungushi. He was brought on board by Dr. Edgar Chagwalongo to say, let's work together. So now, we started identifying a few things from him to say, no, I think here you are not doing right.
Yeah.
You're supposed to do this. Considering the party constitution, the way it stipulates it's ABCD, ABCD. So we reached a point where we had an argument. So that argument where I for one, I spoke my mind, because I know we have a freedom of speech as Patriotic Front. Also, we need to iron out our views and make sure that our points are known to the party. So regardless of being in the influential position or a lower organ, but you have to register your presence because you are part and parcel of the development of the party. So during that time, we went back to tell Mr. Mwila, oh, Honorable SG, help us. The president is very busy with the national issues. The sole mandate that the president has is to look at the affairs of the 18 million Zambians, Madam Sharon. Then now we came back to the party. We told the SG, you are the custodian. As a person there, you are the civil servant, the senior civil servant of the Patriotic Front. And you, the sole mandate of the Secretary General is a liaison between the section, the branch, the ward, the district, the constituents, up to the provincial level, day-to-day activities of the party, to make sure that is get acquainted with the information, what is happening throughout from the section up to the province, so that when they meet a central committee, they deliberate. So we had this problem. Sata, when he ruled for 3 years, may he so rest in peace, the people out there, they were too expectant, too much wanted to see what they have worked for in Sata. Along the line, we had that tragedy, where now people, they are still in limbo dilemma. They didn't know exactly which leader they should put forth. So it's us again as the youth who stood upright. By then, the Central Committee failed to make a decision. They were divided. Others, they were on the side of Winter Kavimba. Others, they were on the side of Honorable Guy Scott by then. And until we came to force as the youth, who were making checks and balances within the party. So we had to force the Central Committee at Brunei to say, the acting president, Mr. Guy Scott, is calling for the convention in Kawa. Why are we failing to go there? Let's go. We fight from the convention, not from an outside. Thank God the column was set. The chairperson, Madam Wenonge Wina, was on our side. And the person by then, if I can recall vividly in my mind, was Mr. Stad Mwale, who was by then a provincial chairman, he came at Brunei and the quorum was set. Sorry to mention this. We have been going, at that particular moment of time, we have been going back and forth without making a decision, a progress. So until we tried to provoke a situation a little bit, we had to call, there was that giant, may he so rest in peace, Honorable William Sanda. By then we said, but Mr. Honorable, we have been coming here, it's almost 1 week, without making a decision. So why are we here? Then we are saying, okay, today you are locked up in this room. If you won't make any decision, then we help you. We will do what the other things that we can do. I cannot explain through this media.
Was that the reason why you were expelled?
Exactly. And we remember you, Mr. Komaki, you were hacked during one of the fracas in the same intra-party wrangles.
My brother, politics is between life and death. You know, there's misunderstanding. Others, people will misunderstand you to say you are the hired gun. By then, if I can remember very well, Mr. Winter Kavimba was the Secretary General by then. So when there was that internal fight, there was divisions. And again, we saw it was imperative and very important for us to go and find out from Mr. Michael Chulufya-Sata. There was a cartel which was brought, preparing to take over from Michael Sata. So upon seeing that, we rose to the occasion. Then we started now confronting the situation. From there, that's when by the time they were groundbreaking ceremony at airport, KK International Airport, that's where my colleague ganged up to say, because I'm the front runner for this issue, they wanted to eliminate me, because by then we bought as a group a mocking coffin, if you remember. We bought the mocking coffin to say, Winter Kavimba, may he so rest in peace. Yes. Politically.
History was made.
Yes. So why they were so bitter? So he had, of course, his own people. Then they wanted to take my life because of being factual and truthful. But I thank God I'm here. That's why I hate violence with passion, because I'm one of the victims. And I need to give the tribute even to His Excellency, the president, the current president, HH, to remove the thuggery. But he cannot remove the cadres, because he's also a cadre #1.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Mr. Komaki, you are a founding member for the Patriotic Front, obviously, according to the information we have, and yourself, as to what you have told us just now. You were very passionate and hopeful about this party. Is the poor leadership that you've described from inception, at least in 2016, been the result as to where the party is today?
I can be honest with you, Madam Moderator Sharon. When the party, the values and the principles which Michael Chulufya-Sata stood for, soon they departed away from it, gradually, slowly. This is why it has led to this. If I can cast your mind back, there was one time when the party was so attractive, everyone wanted to jump on the boat. You remember the sentiment which was coming from the CEO of the party? You said, we cannot accept you until you apply for 3 years. What is the meaning of that? Because as much as I appreciate the party as voluntary, that's the reason why, even when they wanted to expel me, I refused to say I joined voluntary. If I want to leave, I'll leave voluntarily, because I'm passionate to serve the people on one or another. Yes, so that is the more reason. So since on that aspect, it started diluting the leadership. And the major problem which has attributed to this, the leaders that we had, there are some leaders by then who were not closer to the Michael Chulufya-Sata by then. So those people, when the new regime by Dr. Edgar Chagwarung came in, those are the same group which they brought forth. So, not knowing to say these people, one way or another, they were bitter that they were sidelined on that era of the government. Now that it's their turn, so they started now fighting whoever who was very closer to Michael Sata, and not knowing to say in the Bible they says the stone, the rejected stone became the chief cornerstone. The same stones which they were throwing around, those were the same stones which they wanted to gather and put them into elections where we can have to win. Now we had that problem where they started now isolating people. They started isolating, elimination, subtraction, elimination. They don't want this, they don't want this. So it's like they stripped the leadership such that the party now was not all that conducive. The president here is busy on the national duties, infrastructure development. This is why you have seen all over the country. We can even give tribute to that because he has done it. He has a legacy. Now, on the party side where they were failing to work, he was failing to drop on the party side to check how the party is moving so that the party and this government can run in tandem. So it's like the government was running here at a high speed while the party was on a slow note, whereby the party was not all that attractive where you can go to secretariat, you are accommodated, you air your views. It's like now the party secretariat was like a no-go area for the people. So it was very, very difficult at that point of time, whereby how can they organize for the 150 constituencies when the Secretary General has depicted just a small unit of people that to prefer to work with. So now, when it comes for this mammoth task, which needs each and everyone on board, it was very difficult who to trust. So that's why there was a very, very big problem. And now there was finger pointing. And it's like, again, the other side of the president is like he was only surrounded by the few people who were not telling, because they were limited with the truth that they were giving the president, because the president also had no time to check exactly what is happening on the party, like random.
To summarize, Mr. Komaki.
Yes. Before you come in, Patrick, just on that one, would you say President Lungu was a good leader for the party? You fought for him to be in that position.
You know, I cannot even be ashamed. Up to now, he's a good leader. Up to now, he can even stand a chance of bouncing back. But the problem is that the people that surrounded them at that particular time are the people who were not helpful to the president. Because you know, you cannot govern the country alone. Madam Sharon and my colleague here on the right-hand side, and we there, you are working for one common goal. So when you are not cooperating, the atmosphere is not conducive. The production will be failing. So on the part of Edgar is a good reader, very understanding and very accommodative. But the people who surrounded him, they were not fair and they did love him too much.
Then what would you attribute to the PF defeat on the August 12 general elections? Just the things that you think these costed the party, or who should be blamed? Just under a minute.
I'm sure the people who should be blamed at first is the Central Committee. The Central Committee were the custodian. We had where we say power rise to the people. That is the party principle. That is the values which we stood for. So when the people down there, they were crying for a preferred candidate, when that person shortlisted, the names forwarded to the Central Committee, as long as that person at that particular moment of time, he is not in good terms with the Secretary General, he has nothing to give to the Secretary General, then that person will never be adopted.
Something to give? What do you mean, Mr. Gomai?
This is why we are saying
corruption within the
corruption was within the party. That's why we ate it with the passion. Even this time around, those who served in these public offices, if they have stolen, let them face the wrath of the law. Because it will help us as Patriotic Front to help cleansing the leaders, who is clean and who is not clean. Because even the president, when he says, this country was run by the what? The crooks?
A clique of thieves.
A clique of thieves.
A clique of thieves. You understand? That is, for me, it's an understatement. It was not fair to the president, because if I remember very well, even the president himself at one time, before he was in government, he was part and parcel of the same clique to privatize. So, if today we ask and we demand honest answers to say, can the president now is the president of the Republic of Zambia, even if they never voted for him, they voted for him, he's still the president for everyone. So if we demand honest answers, we need honesty. If we demand honest questions from him, he's supposed to give us honest answers to say the role of your privatization. When you privatized these companies, which were worked on by the same clique in the 1964, those are the same thing they sought. Those are the same problem we are having now, because we have nowhere to work. There is no mines, there is no parastatal companies, and yet we have heard just recently that in Deni and Zesco they are about to privatize it. So now they should tell us, now they should be honest enough to say, if Zambia is for sale, let them sell, then we share the national cake, because we are 18 million, so each and everyone can be catered for, so that we know that, oh, we never benefited on that privatization, but for this privatization which is coming, let's share the national cake, because we are part and parcel, because this is our country.
You're watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, and in studio we have the Patriotic Front founder member, Mr. Julius Komaki. You can call us or send us messages and ask him what you think about the Patriotic Front.
Mr. Komaki, are you still with the PF now, or what's the way forward with the PF?
The way forward of Patriotic Front, I need to be honest with you. I need to give you a clear point.
You are not defecting.
Defecting to where?
Please.
So were you served with? You were served with a letter.
I'm still Patriotic Front. For your own information.
You didn't accept.
You didn't accept it.
You know,
it wasn't voluntary.
When you are the owner of the house, how do you expect someone who is not the owner of the house to come and chase you?
How do you expel your father?
How would you? We are the owner of the party. That's why I failed to move. When we give them that privilege, leadership is all about privilege. When you give someone a privilege to serve, doesn't mean it's a personal to order thing. No. So,
the way forward now.
Coming back to you are saying the way forward of Patriotic Front. The message is to the Central Committee, because we are in the process. We are in the process of choosing the leader who will take over from his former President, Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu. But again, we have a job to do. It's not like where you hear people are speculating, no, we want this one, we want this one, we want that one. No. We have eminent people, able-bodied men and women in Patriotic Front who are clean. That's why this crusade of corruption, they need to intensify it, so that we know who is clean among the Patriotic Front. So then they help us. Then the way forward of Patriotic Front, we need to go back to the drawing board. For where we made the mistake is for the intra-party elections. So once we make a mistake in life, we need to go back to the drawing board. So we need to have internal elections, because we don't trust those structures which were there.
Okay, just hold your thought. We pick a call. Good morning. Thank you for calling.
Thank you, Sharon. How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you.
This is Chico from Livingston.
Okay, please go ahead with your contribution.
Now, I just want to add something to my brother there from PF.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel the question was one of guidance, that he should talk much about the PF. Not something he doesn't understand. I believe it's a syntax for me. But about Zesco and then being so honest, that's a lie. I'm in Zesco. I'm telling you the truth. That is never keep on at all on the ground. When you stick to what he knows, and his folks give them information better, and that would be better. Bring out information without justification. He's a syntax for me. And I love how he stands for the truth. But if he the
All right, thank you, Chico.
Okay, so Chico is saying, he's arguing with you, Mr. Komaki, that Zesco is not up for sale, and Indeni, they are not up
Where
for
did
sale.
you get that information? If I can add on to his question.
Yeah, I think that information is in the public domain.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are the people who have no courage enough to talk about it. But us, because we are Zambians, whether we are in the opposition or we are in the ruling, but we need to speak. So that when we speak, whatever they are planning, they should know that even the people out there, they are aware, they are also on top of things.
Okay.
Yes.
So before we went on we picked that call, rather, you were giving us your thought on the
Yeah, I was saying the issue of rebranding the party is not a process which we can do for one day. We need to make the overhaul. If we want to make the rebirth of the Might Patriotic, we want to a rebirth. One, we need to make the introspection of ourselves, starting from the sections. Why did we perform badly? Branches, wards, constituencies, district, provinces, were they part and parcel of this? So when we are calling about the conference, we need to start from somewhere. We take stock. The people who have defected, the people who are with us, so that we fill up those gaps. Other positions, we need to be elective because they failed to perform. If they had performed, we would have given them a credit. By now, we would have been in the government. So why should we keep the failure? They failed. And the president says, I'm ready to relinquish the power. So even the Secretary General also should go to the farm. If he has already stated to say he's going to the farm, but up to now he hasn't gone to the farm. So I think what we are thinking as Patriotic Front, we will help him, we will escort him to the farm because he has failed to go on his own. So that now we make the rebirth of the Patriotic Front.
Mr. Komaki, is Mr. Chishimbagambwiri a favorite to run the presidency, considering that you have experience of your own political party as a founder member?
Mr. Chimbakambwiri is a human being. He has got his strength and he has got his own weaknesses as a human being. But I cannot explain much on Chimbakambwiri because he's not here to defend himself through this media. What is important, we have got guidelines, rules to follow in the Patriotic Front when choosing a leader. So when we go to the convention, if you apply, then we are able to scrutinize because we have been with these leaders. Chimbakambwiri, I remember him. He worked as a he was at one time as a national youth chairperson.
We'll interrupt you for that.
So we'll hold your thought again. Good morning. Welcome to this breakfast show. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello?
Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Chilome calling from Zambia.
Okay, please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, I think the gentleman on the floor, sometimes we should learn to do your mistakes. Where you went wrong as a Patriotic Front, it is not about to the president or others. What made Patriotic Front to lose the elections is capitalism, where Qatar enjoyed more money than the citizens. You neglected the civil servants and you became so arrogant. That is what contributed to your loss. So I don't see the same people in the PM bouncing back for power again. It has never happened in the history of this country. So I'm trying to advise the gentleman that maybe you can form another political party, not PM. The Zambians have rejected it and it will never bounce back to power. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much for calling in. Mr. Komaki, your comment on that?
Mr. Chihuahua from Zambezi. Yeah, thank you very much, my dear brother, for that positive contribution. I can urge you to say what killed the PF is the poor leadership at the secretariat level. As I alluded to in my preamble, because they failed to tame the thuggery behavior. There was a thuggery behavior hiding in the name of the cadreism, because for him to speak, he's a cadre, because he's a follower of a certain political party. A cadre, number one, is a president. When I form a political party, I'm a cadre number one. The people that are following me, they are all my cadres. But what was there was the thuggery. And that criminality which they were perpetrated, they were hiding in the name of cadres. You understand? So now, this is why, up to now, I commend the president, because you are free. You can go to the market station, you can go to the bus station without any interference. But again, there is another interference which has been propagated there. So may I take this opportunity to warn my brothers and sisters, those who are chasing their brothers in the markets, that they cannot be there because they belong to Patriotic Front. That perception is wrong, because the party Patriotic Front has just lost power, has not deregistered, is one of the biggest and the strongest opposition in this country. Now, just to correct my brother, where he has said it is not in the history of the country where the party has gone back and cannot bounce back. No, the same civil servants, the things they were complaining about, they haven't tackled them. Is there any increment of 1,500 for each and every civil servant?
Mr. Komaki, isn't it just 2 months?
They're just 2 months in power. So
you had 5, you had 10 years, Mr. Komaki.
We have 3 months now.
Exactly 3 months.
Yes, and the budget has come out.
And they're still riding on the PF budget.
No, not the PF budget.
Yes, still. At the moment.
Yes, but are you aware that the budget was presented?
Yes.
Did you have time to check the budget?
Yes.
Where you know that there is that projection of 25.7 million CDF.
Yes.
Addition from 1.6 to what? Yes. So from that benchmark, we are trying to see. You understand? From the budget that they have made, they said they are going to create recruit about
30,000 teachers,
11,000, 30,000 teachers, and 11,000 health workers. So from them, that is there the beginning of working. You understand?
Yes.
So we cannot say they have been in 3 months. No, they have set a benchmark to run this country. So when we base our argument, we are arguing depending on the budget which has moved.
Mr. Komaki, did the PF construct the flyover bridge in the first 2 years or first 1 year in office? On the first 90 days, or the famous 90 days?
Yes. No, what is important, I'm not saying they are rocket scientists. You understand?
Exactly.
We are debating upon the budget which they have formulated. That's why we are moving them. We are moving them bit by bit. You understand? The flyover bridge, they will concentrate. Now I want to put my brother Chiwowe from Zambezi to put it in the picture, to say they should work hard to surpass what UPF did, so that now they can erase everything. You understand? Apart from cadreism, it should be also economic to the truth, whereby you can appreciate where it's due to say, but in terms of roads, infrastructure, hospitals, schools, PF had done well, but why are they just depicting on the cadreism? I've told them to say it's not only cadreism, there was that element of thuggery in the name of cadreism. So that one, there's no one which is perfect. This is like why we are here. We are here right now. You understand? The president, again, he has removed 116 DCs. You understand? And it has taken 2 months and 2 weeks to replace them. He has removed even the PSS. Up to now, is the country being run on the pilot? We are asking this question. How long does it take for someone to vet? Because when they were in the oppositions, they had a shadow cabinet. Every position, they had a shadow cabinet. From a DC, from the PSC, from the minister, to everywhere. So now, for us now, we are saying, I think the president has got more business associates than the political friends, because he doesn't even trust the people who helped him to usher into power. Because if he had the trust and faith in them, they would have been filled in the position. Because you cannot tell me that all the UPND have no papers to occupy the office of the DCs. You cannot tell me to say some of they are Zambians, they have worked for it. Let them give them. If they have qualification for the PS, as long as they are sympathized, they are the ones to drive the agenda. I'm here to support them. Let them be there so that they help the president to govern this country. By the way, we are remaining with 4 years. That's when we will come and check for what he has managed for the betterment of all of us here, Madam Sharon.
Interesting analysis, Mr. But then, we're talking about rebranding. We are in the dying minutes, and I just want to put it on record that we have Patriotic Front members that have joined the party maybe for a year, or maybe they've been in the party for 2 years and wanting to take over the wheels of the Patriotic Front. What does it take to be a PF president?
My sister, I need to be honest with you. That question is very honest, which demands honest answers. Whether you came yesterday or tomorrow or today, as long as you are capable, you have quality to contribute positively towards the party, is very much welcome.
You can be the president?
He can be the president. No, there's no strings attached to it. You understand? There's no strings attached to it, whether someone defected from UPND, but all what we are saying, the people who failed, the Zambian people, on part of the leadership of Patriotic Front, they are not needed. We need a new crop of leadership. Okay. Yeah, the same way we identified President Edgar Chagwarungu, we are in the process also to identify.
In other words, you are saying the MCC should go.
The MCC should go. We have no trust and faith in them. They are the ones who advise the president. Up to now, they are the ones who are calling the shots. So how would you trust them? The story is one thing. The implementation is another thing. Have they apologized enough? Have they go back to the people to say we are sorry? Okay, what is now justifying the sorry that they are making? You understand? It's not, is it a mere statement or what?
Great, Mr. Komaki. So, what's your last words to the PF members, to everyone who's a sympathizer? They may not necessarily be your members, but they are sympathizing with the party and hoping that you bounce back as you do your rebranding process.
What I can assure them, I'm appealing for the spirit, the unit of purpose. The same way they loved Michael Chilukyasata, may he so rest in peace, I'm sure that is the same way they loved Edgar Chagwarungu. But along the way, people were disappointed with the leadership of the Secretary General, Mr. Davis Mwila, which made us to lose these elections. And I'm appealing to our members around the corner, let them be united. We need them. I know it's not easy to lose power. I know they are still shocked. They don't know what attributed. But when I stood, me and my comrade, Mr. KBF, I have great respect for that man because he's a fearless man. Like me, I speak. Not that I was hired by someone. I didn't pay you here. I don't have money, but I have the truth. Nothing will set me truth. Nothing but the truth. So what I'm saying, they are still shocked, but let's them pick up the pieces. Let's be organized. The party is very active. The structures are still intact. We have just lost the power. We have not deregistered as a party. We still need them, each and every person. Let them come on board. Very soon, we will start going province by province, hear our views to help. We'll make the submissions even to our former president to say, Mr. President, please hear what the people are saying, not what you and the Central Committee want. This time around, we are not going necessarily to trust the Central Committee who has betrayed us. So now we need to go back to the people. What the people will say, that's exactly what we are going to do.
All right, Mr. Komaki, thank you so much for gracing our screens. For the first time, we appreciate your effort in making sure that you honored our invitation. Patrick?
Yeah, like you said, Sharon, we'll continue having discussions on national matters so that we can see how other people think about other issues happening across the country. And until next time, as we come with another interesting editions of The Breakfast Show, this has been Patrick Soko.
My name is Sharon Kalimbola. Thank you so much for choosing us. Good morning.